question, Ann?
The question is, I think that the hospital should be sold to this nonprofit because we don't have control over the Board of Trustees, just like you don't have control over the Board of Trustees. They will be...
And can we turn it into a question for him?
Yeah. Why doesn't Bingham buy the hospital?
That option wasn't palatable at the time. It was in some of the discussion on the letter of interest, but in our state, they are a critical access hospital. They have the same charter as we do. They are a private not-for-profit. So an acquisition doesn't fall within the guise of their charter and their model of doing business. They can acquire a clinic or a urgent care, which they've done, but to go to another county, that's I believe would be a rather difficult, if not impossible, task. What we've come up with is what looks to be, from all of our perspectives, a great option. There are several, as I mentioned, models in the state, but I think with the rules and regulations governing critical access hospitals, acquisition is not an option at this time. So again, based on the timing and the opportunity, I think we have a very reasonable, high chance of success option. There are going to be in the lease agreement as well as the management agreement safeties for preventing what you expressed as concern: debt, running out of cash, the players losing interest. All those things have all been put into the conversion agreement. It's on our website, and those are yet to be crafted. And if we hit an impasse on any of those suggestions and recommendations and guidelines that are in the conversion agreement, we stop, take a pause, and decide what we do next. But right now, a tremendous amount of energy went into those risks. Are they less than the county has now? Yes. Are they perfect? No.
Do you mind if I add a little bit on
Sure.
there? And I appreciate your passion around this. It shows great concern. I have great passion for healthcare myself. That's why I'm in this role. In my previous role at St. Luke's Health System in Boise really solidified that within me, and really set me forth in a direction to keep healthcare as my career for the rest of my life. One thing I noted, excuse me, I haven't been feeling well. One thing I learned at St. Luke's is that they're miracle workers at mergers and acquisitions and consolidations, especially from critical access or rural hospitals. They have gone through more in this state than anybody else. And they have a specific model that they look for in which they're going to get involved in. And they stay away from those that don't provide the benefit that they're looking for. But St. Luke's is also a great organization, and their number one key is we're not going to go where we're not wanted. You may know that they've purchased the Magic Valley Hospital in Twin Falls, and they built a brand new hospital that cost them over $240 million to do it. They also recently acquired McCall. There's also some others that I can't speak on based on my previous knowledge, but there is consolidation everywhere in the state and across the nation when it comes to small hospitals to be able to manage and work through healthcare reform. Where I'm really going with this is that St. Luke's looks at the models of the critical access hospital or of the hospital that they're looking to acquire. First, as I said, they look to see if they're going to if they're wanted in that community. Second, they look to see how much it's going to cost them. In this area here right now, there is not a health district, as Virgil discussed, a health district meaning a taxing district that can do a mill levy and bring in funds each year on an annual basis. St. Luke's, all of their acquisitions have had that. But what has happened is that every one of those hospitals has given those assets, plus any funds coming in from the mill levies, to St. Luke's, so that St. Luke's could come in and add more services and hopefully provide efficiencies and so forth. This hospital hasn't ever had that. This hospital hasn't had a mill levy to support it throughout its history. Only in the last 4 years has there been any public contribution to this hospital, besides when the LDS Church built it back in 1938 when it opened up, I believe. The only public support that I can see in history is the last 4 years, when there was dire, desperate straits. So that's one issue, is that the model that we operate under currently isn't really all that impressive or desirable for somebody to come in and pick up on. In the future, it may turn that way. Once we start getting things, we're in a lot better shape than we were, but once we show a history of continued improvement, it may be that somebody wants to come in and purchase it, and that will be a decision in the future. The assets themselves, sure, the assets themselves are not going anywhere. They're not going with the new entity. They're staying with the county. So there's no risk of the new hospital going under and the assets going away. The county owns those assets, and they'll continue to be there.
That's exactly my point, is they don't own them. And so how often will the public be able to see the financial condition of this hospital? Because it'll be operating in the dark, essentially.
I think that from what I can tell, I know from ourselves operationally and from the Board of Trustees' desire as well, the desire is for us to be as transparent as possible. But you're right. But nobody asked that of St. Luke's. Nobody asked that of Madison. Well, Madison's a county-owned entity. Nobody asked that of ERMAC. Nobody asked that of any other healthcare organization. So it's just like any other business that's being run. So there are...
You're evading. It's a publicly owned asset.
The asset, the hospital itself, is still county-owned. That will be on the county's books. You can request information regarding those assets just like any other case. But as far as the operational status of the hospital, the new Teton Valley Hospital, Inc., it will be a private entity.
You have a question, Tony?
Yeah, I come to the microphone as a take a number kind of deal. But I'm sure everybody can hear me. For those that don't know me, I'm Tony Go. I do have a question here, but it kind of builds off of what we discussed when we had an open meeting with the county commissioners a few weeks ago. And it goes to the discussion of metrics. And perhaps your answer to that could satisfy Ann and some of those that have questions about the community involvement and how the public can have some form of control over how the hospital is operated. And it goes to the subject of metrics, in which you agreed that the community can participate in the development of those metrics. In other words, developing those items that the public can actually see and have a hand in judging how well Bingham is performing. If one of those metrics is returning $75,000 a year to the county as a measure of profitability, if you will, then that's something that we can all work to establish. Is that ceiling high enough? Is it too low, etc.? The number of doctors that you will have on staff, the ER response, the EMT response, etc. If we can, in fact, and I'm asking that question, will you allow the community to help develop those metrics so we can have some feeling of control and we can get that feedback? Because when you answer those surveys, that gives back to us how well you performed. If we do, in fact, can do that, I think we might be able to feel comfortable that we are helping to guide your performance levels. So is that something,
will you help?
Will the community, in fact, be allowed to help develop those metrics? And will those metrics be a form of providing feedback to the community as to how well Bingham is performing?
Interesting idea. The management agreement has yet to be penned with a single line other than an outline of terms.